Oh god, this again?
Betcha can't stick it.
How can I say that line?
Hello everybody, you read that title right. I played Halo Campaign Evolved and I have some things to say about it. You're probably seeing this video about a week or three after the Halo World Championships. I wanted to post this video as it was still going on, but a lot happened in my own life between then and now. However, now I can actually talk about this like I planned to. Sorry that my voice also doesn't sound very good. I just woke up like an hour ago and this is like the only time that I'll be able to record this for a little while. But if you haven't already heard, the original Halo Combat Evolved just got a remake announced for some point in 2026 called Halo Campaign Evolved. So now you've got Halo CE and Halo CE. Great acronyms, guys. It was announced at HCS 2025, which I only wound up attending the first day of, but I think day one was probably the best day to come anyways. I'll talk about my thoughts on the event itself after I talk about the Halo Campaign Evolved demo that they had. Now for the actual demo that we got to play itself, it was only the first chunk or so of the Silent Cartographer, which was probably the best mission to show off for all the main pieces of gameplay for the full game. Of course, it's got long-range combat, vehicle gameplay, close quarters combat, and just enough explorability to make it the right choice for something like this. Speaking of the gameplay, I have mixed feelings on it, but I'm mostly positive. For the most part, my thoughts are mostly on the gunplay, which makes sense. This is a first-person shooter, and it feels pretty alright from what I got to play. The pistol doesn't feel like that total powerhouse of a weapon that it was in the original, but it still felt alright to use and felt enough like the original that I wasn't too disappointed. The biggest gripe that I have, first and foremost, is the sounds of the weapons. These do not sound good. 343/Halo Studios has this big issue of changing shit that doesn't really need to be changed, especially when it comes to the sound design. From what I remember, they used like real weapons for some of the sound effects in a few cases, but I think they really don't need to fix what isn't broken here. Some weapon sound effects are still in this game, like the plasma pistol, but I think more weapons need their old classic sound effects, and Halo Studios needs to stop with these weird changes. Another thing I think is really weird is the lack of power-ups. There needs to be active camo and overshield at the very least in this game. And I don't mean those weird shitty buttons from Halo 5 and Infinite, I mean like the original pyramid and cube designs. They're too iconic to leave out and I was confused why they weren't in this demo. But onto the vehicle gameplay, I think the Warthog feels and plays exactly as it needs to. This obviously was the only vehicle that was in this build, but it probably is one of the best feeling Warthogs to drive in a Halo game so far. Don't know if the rest of the vehicles will be able to overtake Halo 3, as I still, to this day, think Halo 3 had the best vehicle gameplay out of any of the games in the series. But, you know, anything's possible if Halo Studios decides to lock the fuck in. The next thing I want to touch on are the enemies themselves. I think they were similar enough to the OG that they're familiar, but they're different enough to feel like I'm fighting new enemies in a new game still, if that makes sense. None of the enemies felt super changed, and in this build, all the enemies have their same spawn positions to the original. It was a surprisingly faithful change that I'm glad was there. The enemy designs, however, are a little weird, and I'm not too fond of the Halo Infinite designs being reused, but they work for a decent amount of the enemies, like the regular grunts or some of the elites. The big thing that I've been seeing get hated on with this remake is that a lot of stuff has changed from the original. No fucking shit, it's a remake, that's the point. It's not the same game as the one that came out 25 years ago. And the one that came out 25 years ago is still not delisted, and you could still play it on Steam and on Xbox. While I understand a lot of people won't be fond of the changes in Halo Campaign Evolved, I recognize that a lot of these are just really nitpicky issues that really don't matter at the end of the day. Personally, I really don't care for some of these redesigns. I really don't. I'm not fond of the storm grunts from Halo 4 or 5 Infinite appearing here. I don't like how the assault rifle has a 32 round mag compared to the original 60 round mag. I don't like the Gold Elites redesign from that final part. And I most certainly do not fuck with the Marines armor designs. A lot of these are Halo Infinite models, but I also recognize that these are probably placeholders. And if they aren't then it's not gonna ruin the game for me. I'm still just gonna play it, but I'm probably not gonna like it as much if these aren't placeholders. But on that, I should also add, some of these things are probably gonna get changed. This game is still months, if not at least a year away from coming out, so they're definitely gonna be changing a few things here and there. Also, this is just one level. Halo CE had 10 different missions, and this remake is gonna have 3 more. They talked about other bits of the game that they're working on, showed some small glimpses of what they were working on at HCS, and from what I can see, it looks to be a relatively faithful remake with some changes done to fit Halo's modern aesthetic. Say what you will about the modern aesthetic of Halo and how that's kind of been a mess, but it does seem like it will probably fit a little bit into Halo Infinite's, which if you don't like that one, then sorry. Speaking of which, I should probably talk about the graphics. I think the graphics are pretty good. I don't have like a stake in how good graphics look because I just see a game and I care more about the gameplay. They look really nice. The game does look really good. There's so many little details, and I could go on about what I like about it, but I don't really care. It looks good and it looks pretty, and that's all that really matters for something releasing nowadays, I guess. It doesn't push the limits of what hardware is capable of like the original did. It looks a lot like a lot of other games that are coming out right now, which is fine. That's kind of just the meta, is that everything is going to look realistic and polished and nice and pretty, especially when it comes to remakes. Those all look really nice and pretty and whatnot. The aesthetic has changed from the original, which I completely acknowledge, and this game is not going to please everybody. I can tell. I knew it was not going to please anyone since before they announced it, because it was pretty obvious that they were going to release this. But overall, I did like the Halo CE remake, and I have my hopes not set too high for it, but they aren't super low either. More Halo is more Halo for me, and if I wind up enjoying the rest of the game, that's what I'll do regardless of what the online opinion has been. So finally, my thoughts on HCS 2025. I went with a friend who asked not to be named, and it was fun and cool as hell to be a part of the community this year. I kind of regret not coming to these past events, especially considering they're all in Seattle, which is my home state. But I think I might have to try and make this a tradition of going to these Halo events. So if you see me at Halo Fest next year, don't hesitate to say hi. I read over the script and realized it was kind of a yap session, so I cut a lot out, but overall I really enjoyed my time at HCS and would like to go every year if I can. If you're a terminally online Halo fan who bitches about every single little thing, it can really change your perspective by meeting actual Halo fans who exist in the real world and not on Twitter like Fraser Payne, who sent his follower base of over 50,000 after me because I got a little dark woke and said what all of his followers would tell people like me on a daily basis. Mind you, I only have like 40 followers on Twitter, I barely use it, but that's a story for another day. And those were my thoughts on Halo Campaign Evolved. I will be doing a full-on review of this game when it comes out, with comparisons to the original directly, but these are my current thoughts on what I got to play at HCS this year. But that's really it. That's all I gotta say.
Today, I'm going to buy Big Chungus from GameStop.